Hello and welcome to the National Center for Learning Disabilities 2021 Virtual Gala. I'm your host, Ernie Hudson. I'm so happy to be here with all of you tonight. This evening, we celebrate forces of change across the learning disabilities community, and we hope that you will be inspired to support NCLD so it can continue to be an agent of change. This past year has been like no other in recent history, filled with anxiety and uncertainty and marked by interrupted and unfinished learning. And through it all, NCLD holding strong to its commitment to ensure that every child, adolescent, and adult whose life is touched by a learning disability can enjoy opportunities to succeed in school, at work, and in life. During tonight's celebration, you'll hear from a diverse set of voices, award-winning young adults, everyday champions, and influencers who've used social media as a platform to change minds and create action. There's still a long way to go and more to be done. So while you'll hear troubling statistics, you will also be wowed by the accomplishments of folks who, despite their struggle with LD, have stepped up as champions. They are proof that the cycle of stigma and shame that derails so many can be broken. Your donations to NCLD will amplify the voices of the 1 in 5 so they can tell their stories, create community, and fulfill their dreams. And tonight, we have a special donor who has agreed to match every donation up to $50,000. So if you give $5, you'll actually be giving $10. If you give $100, you'll give $200. Please help us take advantage of this pledge. Go to the address on your screen to donate now. Together, we can support the network of NCLD and change lives. Let's get right to it with NCLD and the forces of change.
NCLD can imagine a time when children with learning disabilities won't have to fight for their rights, when no student will have to wait to fail before they get noticed, when the voices of students and parents are welcomed and valued, where classrooms are learning laboratories, collecting data and translating research into practice. NCLD has created a roadmap of opportunities that will bring us closer to realizing the promise of equity, access, and inclusion for everyone whose life is touched by learning disabilities. Our vision is clear. Our plan is bold, protecting and increasing education funding, conducting research, and translating findings into actions that improve teaching and learning, shaping federal and state policies that reward innovation and get positive results, and cultivating a new generation of leaders by reaching individuals and communities whose voices still need to be heard. Imagining a new reality for individuals with LD is easy, but creating that reality is going to be hard work. NCLD is counting on you to be part of the solution. Let's get started.
Hey, what's going on? This is Diggy Simmons, and I'm honored to be a part of the National Center for Learning Disabilities annual benefit this year. Even with all of the hardships that we've seen from education reform, lack of awareness, extended remote learning, NCLD has ensured substantial progress for the 1 in 5 looking to achieve equity in work, education, and life. So tonight, it's a celebration of all of the people who've made their generous contributions and support in this space. So thank you to all of you, and thank you, NCLD, for all of your support and love given into the space. Thank you.
It is my honor to be here to present this award to this young woman. From conquering math to starring as Macbeth, this young woman has taken many of the changes and challenges ahead of her and embraced it with force, with energy, with vigor and determination. In her application to NCLD, she spoke about how art was a secret weapon, one that she says could be a medium for both self-expression and a tool to inspire others and ignite change. In fact, when asked about her disability and how it has impacted her life, this was interesting. I want to read it. She said that over time, she has allowed herself the grace to fail forward and the power to forge ahead. It is my honor right now to present this award to Jocelyn Dow, who is the very first recipient today of this year's Ann Ford Scholarship Award. Congratulations.
Did you know that when you call me beautiful, you see the reflection of yourself as well. Did you know that when we laugh honestly with each other, we can finally breathe?
I found that the most painful and passionate color is black.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Hunter Dow. I'm from New Jersey, and I'm a freshman attending Rutgers University. I'm very passionate about painting and drawing. I love using bright colors to show the vibrancy and the beauty of a blackness. Women of color, Black women who have ADHD and other learning disabilities. I know for us, we're rarely, if not rarely, never seen anywhere. I want us to be seen whatever way I can, whether if it's on paper in a book or on a canvas. I would say growing up was challenging. With ADHD, it was just very difficult to create long-lasting bonds with people. In terms of time management, I would have to get like extensions for my work. It would just take me a little longer to get things than my other classmates. My family were absolutely my cheerleaders, and they would always reassure me that my disability doesn't hinder me from my greatness and that I can be somebody who makes a difference. Now I realize that I know my potential and not to be discouraged by people who doubt me or see me as strange or different. And I truly embrace my difference. And I can't wait to see what else the future has in store for me.
The first of this year's Allegra Ford Thomas Award winners is a young person who, in our own words, shared difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. Through hard work and determination, and with great support from her school, family, and friends, she was able to rise above disappointment and despair. As an aspiring dental hygienist, this young woman literally puts a smile on your face. Her compassion, kindness, caring heart, strong social conscience, and determination are truly inspirational. Please join me in congratulating Lise Fabian, one of this year's winners of the Allegra Ford Thomas Scholarship Award.
I want to be a dental hygienist because ever since I was little, I would see all the dental hygienists care for their patients. I love helping others, that's in me. I was in 6th grade when I was diagnosed with a learning disability. I was very depressed. My mom would constantly remind me, don't let your learning disability stop you from the things that you want to do. And if you want to be a dental hygienist, then be a dental hygienist. My name is Lise Fabian, and I go to West Kentucky Community Technical College. I'm majoring in dental hygiene. This is a new chapter for me. Right now, I'm attending basic classes. I've already made 5 friends at the first day of school. When I was in elementary, I would always get bad grades. And it wasn't just because of laziness, just because I was just struggling with work. I thought I was the dumbest person in the world. And they told me that I had a specific learning disability, which means that I have trouble with reading, writing, and speech. What started to change was my special ed teachers would always pull me out of class. The more they helped me, the more I understand way better. I started to make good grades. For the very first time, I made all straight A's on my report card. And I'm like, yes! I peer mentor the severe special need kids. It's an amazing job for me because I get to be the second mama for them, making sure that they're successful in life like me. I worked so hard from being the very bottom to the top. My biggest advice for people of learning disability is to never give up. Always have a positive mindset. Believe in yourself. Don't let the learning disability stop you from the things you want to do.
Lisa's strengths are amazing. Remember tonight, your pledge are double up to $50,000. So please give what you can so the whole world can see the strengths of Lisa and so many others like her. Governor Thomas Kean led the state of New Jersey from 1982 to 1990. Many would be surprised to learn that before entering politics, he was a teacher, and as a young student, he struggled with dyslexia and also faced a speech disorder, stuttering. It was teachers who helped him build his confidence while he shaped his interest in education, later weaving it into policy. Today, he continues his support of the LD community, serving on the NCLD Board of Directors.
If you saw something I wrote today, you'd know there was something wrong. Dyslexia doesn't go away. It's always part of you. Even today, there are certain things I don't like to write people handwritten notes because they're so bad. Spelling and writing and everything else. And there are certain things you just don't do. And so it's never gone. You overcome it, you find ways to work around it, but it's always part of you, and it's always there. I wasn't doing well in school, and my father, I think, blamed the schools. And so he looked for a place to get me out of the Washington schools and ended up at a boarding school in New England. I mean, I was desperately trying to find my place. I mean, I was a total outsider, and in spite of my problems, over a year or two, I started to make a few friends. And I still had the problems, and the stutter was almost the worst of the problems. So it was a learning experience where you built self-confidence, gained self-confidence. I think I always wanted to be a teacher. There were always some teachers who cared about me. And it made a real difference in my life, who spent more time with me than they ever could be paid for, who saw there was something beyond the bad grades, and something beyond that, and something they could work with.
The Republican candidate for governor of New Jersey, Mr. Thomas H. Kean. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it.
Yeah, government was purely accident. And it really was. I sponsored the largest scholarship bills in the state, where we took every single person who couldn't afford a higher education and gave them not only the support so they could get into the school, we also gave them money to catch up, money to be mentored. So we had a mentoring staff at every higher education institution in the state, still do. You have to have the advocate. Make the congressman understand. You advocate your issue. You bring the problems before them. They want to do the right thing, but they got to understand what the right thing is. You've got to ask for help when you need it. You got to understand, you got to make some sacrifices to do it.
Thanks to the many, many people who have generously donated tonight. I want to remind you we have a match this evening. So all of the pledges we receive up to $50,000 will be doubled by an amazing anonymous donor. Thank you to those who have already given. Hey, we're getting closer to this amount, so let's do it. If you haven't already, please help. I want everyone to think about an unsung hero in their life. Maybe it was a family member, a coach, but I bet pretty high on everyone's list is a teacher or a school leader. Just up the road at the Frostig School in Pasadena, California, is a head of school who continuously advocates for students and staff alike before and throughout the pandemic. She's been described by her executive director as the fuel that makes it all operate. Now that's a review we could all hope for from our boss. It is my pleasure to introduce our first of this year's NCLD Everyday Champions, Principal Jenny Tucker-Moults.
Going back to that week or so in March when the world changed, do you remember as you processed the information about the pandemic and the reality of how it was going to impact Frostig, what went through your mind and what did you do right out of the gate?
I think our biggest strategy for adapting to the change was just to keep communicating with each other. We established weekly meetings with each of the program groups so we could talk to them about what the challenges were that they were facing, which students were struggling, how we could support them. And as you know, students from Frostig come from all different areas in Los Angeles. The high school team, for example, they suggested, well, why don't we become a courier service? So why don't we divide up the area, divide up Los Angeles into quadrants, and I live out in this area, so I can deliver to this student. When it came to online learning, we took that same approach. Each student needed that individualization in order to be successful within that structure. So while an algebra class may have been scheduled to be 50 minutes long, maybe one student can only be online for 10 minutes without needing to get up and walk around, or needing a break, or needing to get offline for a few minutes. And so it was navigating all of those new experiences with being online and figuring out how to individualize for our students so they could be as successful as possible, given the online platform and given their learning challenges.
So as recently as the last few weeks, do you have the feeling that things are back on track? Is it going to take a while?
Yeah, I think it's going to take a while for us to get back to an even keel. It's been difficult just adjusting to having everyone back on campus, staff and students. There's been a lot of anxiety about what that all means as far as COVID and will I catch it? And there's been a lot of challenges with our students as far as relearning what it means to be a student on a school campus.
On behalf of the board, the staff, the parents, the students, I just want to thank you once again for your amazing, incredible contribution that you've given to this organization, to this school over this hard pandemic time. We would not at all be where we are if not for the work that you put in. Thank you very much.
For our next Everyday Champion, oh, I'm sorry, everyone. I seem to be getting word from our producer that someone is trying to make her way to the gala. Miss who?
Hooley, it's Miss Hooley, Ernie. I am so sorry to do this, hon. I'm a substitute teacher at the William Allen Middle School. It's in Morristown, New Jersey. I had to interrupt you because our next Everyday Champion means everything to me and the students at the William Allen Middle School. My colleague, Excitement for Teaching, is awesome. She cultivates joy and wonder for her kids as a special education teacher. During this pandemic, she far exceeded what many educators could offer students. And that's her presence in the classroom. Her keen eye, her intuition to see beyond her students' challenges is exactly why we are celebrating her tonight. Congratulations, Susan Mora.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. I love you, Susan, and I love Mrs. Hooley too. You guys are amazing.
Well, thank you. And Polly, I just want to thank you so much for you nominating me.
You're certainly welcome, and it is well deserved. And I'm so glad that the committee recognized that. So actually, I'm going to start by just, of course, we know each other well, but asking you to tell the bigger audience just a little bit about yourself.
I am an 8th grade middle school special education teacher at the William Allen Middle School in Morristown, New Jersey. This is my 12th year with the district, and I love what I do.
The children greet you with enthusiasm because they feel your energy, which is amazing. I would love for you to just speak to what the pandemic meant in terms of classroom challenges as a special educator.
You know, every child in my classroom is different. Every child has their own disabilities, their own needs, and their own IEPs. So looking at that, I was like, okay, well, how am I going to do this remotely? But then I had to remember that we're all in it together. So let's figure it out and let's do it. I did have a great support system because my paraprofessionals were phenomenal. But I think that, you know, the challenge is we worked it together. And I think that you mentioned once that we were a community. And I think that that really helped.
What did you do to help keep them engaged?
I was walking by and I saw this big courtyard and I'm like, maybe we could do a garden. Let's, so I brought it back to the kids and they're like, let's make a garden to make everybody happy. They were, researching what a Zen garden was. And then when they would come back, we actually built it. The Miss Hooley, she came along because we were really secluded. It was snowing. We were pandemic, like COVID, we were everything. And I just said one day, how can I make them happy? What can I do? The social emotional learning was more important to me than that academic piece because you have to look 18 months. They were isolated. You know, they didn't get to see their friends. They didn't get to have a normal lunch. That's a big challenge for them. I had been doing a lot of research on the side. So I was looking into what morning meetings were. We did, how are you feeling? I did an emotional check-in every day so I could see how they were doing. And they wrote me little notes, you know, this is why I'm feeling this way. I gave every child a Google Classroom page so that their paraprofessionals, I posted what they were needing. So they weren't feeling embarrassed if I posted on a big Google Classroom page. So it was very individualized.
I'm going to get personal for a moment, if you don't mind. Because I think we all did a lot of like growth and, and learning. And is there something about yourself that you learned through this experience that you didn't know?
I became a better teacher, I think, because of it. I've been doing this 25 years. And sometimes, we kind of slack off in the fact of, oh, we've done that before. This was a whole new world. I was really afraid those 24 hours that they shut us down in March. And I know that all my fellow teachers out there across the United States, we all were like, oh, what do we do? And I think that taking that big breath and then letting it out and working with each other really helped. And I learned to be more of a team player because you had to.
I'm truly delighted that you received this recognition for all that you do. So thank you.
Hey guys, Melissa Joan Hart here. So I haven't ever shared this before with anyone, but 2 of my children have dyslexia. And that's something I've kept kind of private until now. It's something a lot of kids go through, a lot of adults go through. And of course now there's more help than ever, but we still need more. We need more help. And the National Center for Learning Disabilities is doing a fantastic job with adults and children. And I think now more than ever, we need the help because these last few years, I can see it with my children. They're already behind. They're already struggling with learning. And then with this pandemic and with the lack of school time that they've had, with the struggles of wearing masks and trying to understand your teachers or trying to do virtual days or trying to figure out how to do online stuff, it has been a real challenge. And I think we need the help now more than ever, especially for these kids that were already falling behind. They're falling behind even more. And now we particularly need to focus on them and help them catch up the best we can. So thank you to the National Center of Learning Disabilities for the work you do. And I'm just encouraging everyone tonight, just help support. It's super important right now, more than ever, to help these children to get ahead, to be able to keep up with their peers, to be able to feel confident. And I'm just asking you guys to give big if you can, all right? Mwah.
Thank you, Melissa, for sharing your personal experience and for your generous donation. If you were inspired by Melissa's story, we hope you'll join her in supporting NCLD tonight. She's a recording artist and activist who gained recognition for music and anti-bullying message. This singer-songwriter experienced the severity of bullying and its impact on her own mental health at a young age. It was her struggle with ADHD and OCD that was often the target of those who bullied her. A true star advocate and force of change in the LD community. Meet the very impressive Meredith O'Connor.
Hey, it's Meredith O'Connor. I'm a recording artist and I am the founder of the record label Metamorphosis. I do a lot of work for bullying prevention and mental health advocacy. I was diagnosed with ADHD in 4th grade. Additionally, I've always had trouble with right and left, B's and D's. I thought that I wasn't as capable or as intelligent because the academic struggles and the way I learned was so different from people who may be neurotypical or my peers. I was diagnosed with OCD as well when I was in middle school, and that one was pretty terrifying. Nobody knew what it was until I saw a professional, and learning about that diagnosis was also a game changer. So I had a song go viral when I was 16. It was really crazy how much it changed my life. So Stronger was so much fun to film. It was incredible. I think that once I realized I had the chance to speak to millions, I had a platform and I had this opportunity, I was that's sort of what propelled me to be the voice and representation for some people that may otherwise feel alone.
I will be your bridge over the water. You will be the light to guide me home. With your strength, I know that I'll go farther than I ever could on my own. Nothing, nothing, nothing can break us down. Nothing, nothing, nothing can touch us now. There's nothing stronger than love. Nothing, nothing, nothing is stronger. Will an earthquake can shake this land up, so strong that you couldn't stand up. Well, it's not enough to be stronger than us. And this whole world can never face me, even when life gets crazy. No matter how rough, it's not stronger than us. Nothing is stronger. Nothing is stronger than love. Nothing is stronger. Nothing is stronger than us. Nothing is stronger. Nothing is stronger than love. Nothing is stronger. Nothing is stronger than us. Nothing, nothing, nothing can break us down. Nothing, nothing, nothing can touch us now. There's nothing stronger than love. Nothing, nothing, nothing is stronger than us.
Wow! Wasn't she amazing? Meredith O'Connor, thank you for speaking out. And as an update, we're getting closer to meeting our $50,000. So if you haven't given, please do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's get this done. Go to the address on your screen right now and give what you can. Thank you for your support.
Good evening. I'm Chris McDonald, and I'm here for the National Center for Learning Disabilities Gala event. It's the essential fundraiser in these crazy COVID times that enables them to provide its services that every individual should have the academic, social, emotional skills in school, at work, in life, continuing to champion the rights of children and adults with learning and attention issues. Well done on 40 years of success for the NCLD. Keep up the great work, and thank you all in attendance for your generous donations. And those of you at home, keep supporting the NCLD with your donations. Let's change lives. Let's make a difference. And thank you and congratulations to the National Center for Learning Disabilities. Good night.
In addition to this year's NCLD Scholarship Award winners, Shadera Ejiofor and Juliana Ramai, you're about to also hear from Terry Raish, Sydney, and Vivian. Call this group digital movers and shakers, or social media influencers. Each has a very personal connection to the 1 in 5. They know that change doesn't happen if you're standing still, and they have taken to blogging and conducting online surveys, posting videos, and reaching many thousands of parents and educators and advocates on social. Let's hear what they have to say about the importance of dispelling myths, the power of advocacy, and why now is the time to speak out for social justice.
So, Juliana, how would you say that you advocate for yourself with regard to learning disabilities?
You just always ask questions, and the teacher or whoever is helping you will help you through it.
But people with ADHD specifically struggle with asking questions. They feel like they're going to be judged because, you know, they should know that answer already. How would you encourage someone to work past that and try to further advocate for themselves despite that type of feeling that they have about themselves.
My answer to that is keep asking that question until somebody gives you the answer you feel satisfies you, because if not, you're going to just be struggling and struggling and you're going to be left behind.
Where have you found community? Just been social media, or?
I've really just started to find that community here in college, specifically because college is an open space. You're finding people from different parts of the country, from different backgrounds, and finding others in clubs and organizations that share similar learning disabilities as me.
I'd be interested to know what does advocacy look like to you moving forward? And this is a question to you, Chidera, and also you, Juliana.
When I got my disability, I was very young and I just thought I was going to get made fun of. And I felt like lost inside because I didn't know what to do. But other people has it around the community, but you won't know until you find out.
There's so much like shame that we get around being different, but actually just to say like how inspiring it is that even though you went through that experience, you still like kept your heart open, and then you met other people who you could relate to, and then that feeling of shame slowly starts to dissipate, and we get to find people in our tribe that make us feel okay for who we are. Yeah, and that's such an important process.
So Rach, who are you speaking to on your platforms?
So I'm speaking to three types of people. So those who are adults and have been diagnosed with ADHD, those who haven't been diagnosed yet, and then lastly companies. There's this misconception that you had to be diagnosed as a child in order for you to have ADHD. And this is actually, this is persistent in the healthcare system. I'm trying to show them, I was diagnosed as an adult. You can go through the process as well, and don't let someone discourage you from seeking an ADHD diagnosis. And lastly, I'm speaking to companies on the importance of creating inclusive work practices for neurodivergent professionals, and to just let them know that, that's really important.
So Sydney, as an influencer, what are people seeking on your platforms, and what are the conversations that are happening online?
So when I first started this, I didn't know what people were seeking, and I found out that, I would get private messages from people. They're looking for community. They're looking for normalization. That's not just me, that's other people. And it's because we're put into these expectations by people with different brains than us, and we don't function that way. We can function perfectly if the society wasn't the way that it was.
Whenever you're connecting with people online, they're making comments that, like Sydney, should I get my child tested for dyslexia? Where is it that I go? And what kind of signs are there? What about ADD and ADHD? What about dyscalculia? Hey, I can ask for accommodations in the classroom. Hey, I can get tested for dyslexia. Hey, there's a reason why my brain is not doing what these people say it's supposed to be doing. And they don't wind up internalizing all of this, oh my gosh, something's wrong with me, and shutting down.
How do you think the community and our voices can impact even more change?
I would say taking the conversations away from our online platforms and into like schools, universities, and companies.
Like neurodiversity doesn't kind of live in one space, like it really impacts every part of our life depending on what's available and what's accessible to us. So I definitely agree it needs to go, like we are people in every element. So we work, we go shopping, like we have friendships type of thing.
Well, it was really great chatting with you ladies. I am excited to learn more from you.
And congrats again to the scholarship winners.
Thank you.
Even though the theme of tonight's event is about forces of change, no one can force you to reach into your pockets and support NCLD, but we hope you will. No single action can force changes to happen that will result in better outcomes for the 1 in 5 children. But your joining me this evening gives me hope that forces for change are here and are real. If you were inspired by NCLD's mission, this year's incredible award winners, the inspiring champions of change, the panel of influencers, and Meredith's musical magic, I hope you will join me in supporting the work of NCLD tonight and throughout the coming year. Make a donation, lend your voice, and be the force that changes the world for the 1 in 5. Thank you. Be safe and have a great evening.